Dear viewers, Namaskar. Welcome to this edition of the News Bulletin. In the headlines today, in-house modification of coil yard tong limits in hot strip mill 2 Department of RSP. Karamveer Award function held at RSM Department of SAIL.
Fond farewell accorded to senior officers and employees on superannuation.
Silicon steel mill of SAIL Rourkela steel plant sets new monthly production record. Project Samahan, a new SAP initiative for Odisha group of mines, inaugurated at SAIL RSP.
Hot strip mill 2 of SAIL RSP successfully rolls 2.3 mm thick SAIL core HR coils to enter niche market. All the 10 students sponsored by SAIL Rourkela steel plant to study at CIPET Bhubaneswar get selected in campus placement.
Monument inaugurated at SAIL Rourkela steel plant to mark 5 million ton production in new plate mill. Lift operation and rescue training held at SAIL Rourkela steel plant.
Employees of Captive Power Plant 1 of SAIL RSP presented with cash award under Utkarsh scheme for enterprising endeavours. Program on high impact leadership for young managers commences at SAIL RSP.
Ninth year of commissioning of Blast Furnace 5 of SAIL Rourkela steel plant celebrated amidst pomp and gaiety. Program on maintenance of pumps commences at HRD Center of RSP.
Now the news in detail. A team of employees of Crane Maintenance and Hot Strip Mill 2, led by Mr. S.K. Panka, GM Crane Maintenance, successfully modified the coil yard tong limits in HSM2. This in-house enterprising job has improved the equipment availability and improved the overall performance of the department. Notably, the recently commissioned HSM2 has 9 numbers of tong cranes for coil handling. The tong cranes have Lloyd's Somers make tong. For opening and closing control of tong, 2 miniature limit switches were provided in the original equipment. During loading of coils, frequent malfunctioning of the limit switches were observed. This resulted recurrent damage to tong motor gearboxes. Since these are located inside a covered box, it used to take a lot of time to check and revive the limit switches, leading to crane downtime. After a lot of deliberation and study, it was decided to provide normal heavy-duty striker type limit switches in place of miniature type limit switches. The team comprising Mr. B. Dalai, Senior Manager, Crane Maintenance, Mr. S.K. Dash, GM, Mr. B.P. Karketa, AGM, and Tribikram Seth, Senior Manager, SHM2 Electrical, took up the job. The heavy-duty striker type limit switches were mounted in accessible location, which can be easily maintained and monitored during operation of tong without much time down. At present, the limits are installed in all coil yard cranes and are working perfectly. The same is expected to save damage to costly gearbox and reduce the crane downtime. Mr. Mangal Lakra, Senior Technician of SOPS RSM, was bestowed with Karamveer Award at a function held at Repair Shop Mechanical Department of SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant on 27th July. Mr. Ravi Ranjan, CGM Design Shops and Roll Shop, presided over the function and handed over the awards. Present on the occasion were Mr. S.R. Mohapatra, GM, Shops, RSM, PCS and S&F, and other senior officers and employees of the department. Mr. Lakra was awarded for his contribution in repairing and overhauling 3 numbers of MOT gearboxes, 1 cable trailing gearbox of Steel Melting Shop 1, hanging reducer of Steel Melting Shop 2, LD and sinter breaker gearbox of sinter plant 2. The program was coordinated by Ms. Pooja Rawat, Assistant Manager Personnel, RM, CM and MPC.
The senior officers and employees who superannuated from the company's service in July were accorded fond farewell in different functions held at Rourkela steel plant.
In a function held at Manthan Conference Hall of GIC office, Mr. S.R. Suryavanshi, ED Works, felicitated Mr. A.K. Kundu, ED Mines, Mr. Kumar Binoy Shankar Singh, CGM Project Mines, and Mr. Saibal Chakrabarti, CGM in charge maintenance, in recognition of the valuable service rendered by each one of them. He also handed over the service certificate and mementos. Present on the occasion were Mr. P.K. Satpathy, ED PNE, Mr. P.K. Sahu, ED Projects, Mr. Somnath Tripathi, ED MM, Mr. A.K. Behuria, CGM in charge FNA, CGMs, and other senior officers of the plant. The senior officers praised the significant contributions made by Mr. Kundu in mines as head of Odisha Group of Mines and the assistance provided by Mr. KBS Singh and Mr. Chakrabarti, which helped in improving the performance of the plant. Mr. Kundu, Mr. KBS Singh and Mr. Chakrabarti both thanked the management for their support and spoke about the varied experience they gained while serving in different capacities as well as challenges which helped them to grow. In a similar function held at ED Works office, Mr. Suryavanshi handed over the service certificate and gifts to Mr. Ashok Kumar Das, CGM CNIT. Present on the occasion were several chief general managers and other senior officials of the plant. Mr. Saibal Chakrabarti was also given a warm send-off. In the ED Projects office, Mr. P.K. Sahu, ED Projects, handed over the service certificate and gifts to Mr. KBS Singh, CGM Project Mines. Present on the occasion were several chief general managers and other senior officials of the plant. 31 employees, including one executive below the rank of E5, were accorded farewell at a function organized at Civic Center. The spouses of the employees were also present on the occasion. Mr. S. Roy Chaudhary, CGM RMHP, was the chief guest on the occasion and presented gifts and service certificates to the superannuating employees. Mr. G.R. Das, GM Personnel, coordinated the function.
The silicon steel mill, that is the SSM of SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant RSP, has set a new monthly record production by rolling 6,626 tons of saleable steel in July 2022. This is the highest saleable steel production after July 2013. Mr. Atanu Bhaumik, Director in charge DIC RSP, visited SSM shop floor on 1st August 2022 to congratulate the SSM collective for the outstanding performance. He was accompanied by Mr. S.R. Suryavanshi, ED Works, Mr. P.K. Satpathy, ED P&A, Mr. P.K. Sahu, ED Projects, Mr. S. Tripathi, ED MM, and Mr. A.K. Behuria, CGM in charge F&A. Many chief general managers, HODs of different departments and a large number of executives as well as employees of SSM were present on the occasion. Congratulating the collective, the DIC said, "The stupendous performance evokes wonderful feelings and reassures us that the team SSM will carry forward the momentum to create many more new benchmarks in the coming days." He presented bouquets and sweets to the employees to mark the occasion. Mr. Suryavanshi in his address commended the exemplary teamwork of SSM. He urged everyone to remain undeterred in their pursuit for excellence and touch monthly 7,000 ton production mark very soon. Mr. Satpathy expressed happiness over the brilliant performance of the mill, while Mr. Sahu spoke highly of the team SSM, which has helped the mill continually improve its performance. Mr. Tripathi reiterated the wholehearted support of Materials Management Department in terms of consumables and spares to SSM. In his address, Mr. Behuria said that the production record from SSM augurs well for the plant because of the high NSR of the products of the mill. Mr. C.R. Mishra's GM in charge SSM thanked the SSM collective and all the supporting departments, Hot Strip Mill 2, SMS 1, PPC, RCL, Roll Shop, T&RM and CMO for the well-synchronized effort. He also assured the senior executives that the collective will make determined efforts to create new benchmarks. It is noteworthy that SSM produces energy-efficient steel cold rolled non-oriented, that is the CRNO, which is an essential raw material for manufacturing of electrical equipments like generators, motors, relays, small transformers, etc. RSP has the distinction of being the first in the country to start commercial production of the CRNO at SSM. A new SAP initiative for Odisha Group of Mines, Project Samahan, was inaugurated by Mr. A.K. Kundu, the then ED Mines, on 30th July at DIC Conference Hall, Manthan. Present on the occasion were Mr. S.R. Suryavanshi, ED Works, Mr. P.K. Sahu, ED Projects, Mr. Somnath Tripathi, EDMM, Mr. A.K. Behuria, CGM in charge F&A, Mr. S.K. Nayak, CGM F&A, and Mr. Kaushik Sengupta, CGM C&IT, and other senior officers of the plant. The function was attended by SAP core team members and representatives of Messrs. Ernst & Young, a leading consultant instrumental in the implementation of the project. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. A.K. Kundu commended the initiative taken by Finance, Computer and Information Technology and OGM for the implementation of SAP in Odisha Group of Mines activities and making it go live in a very short period of time. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. A.K. Behuria, CGM in charge F&A, emphasized that the implementation of SAP would help ensure better control and administration with flow of real time in today's business environment. Mr. S.K. Nayak spoke about the modules likely to be implemented and the timeline envisaged for the project Samahan to go live. During the function, Mr. N.K. Rao, GM F&A, made a brief presentation on the activities and timelines of the project. All the executive directors present wished for the successful implementation of the project. It may be noted that Samahan is a project where activities of Odisha Group of Mines was merged with RSP SAP system for better commercial and financial management and transparency. This would help in direct access to relevant information and data with regard to dispatch, profit and overall performance of the mines.
The state-of-the-art hot strip mill 2 of SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant has successfully rolled 1250 mm wide and 2.3 mm thick SAIL core HR coils for the first time to enter the niche market segment. The ultra-modern mill rolled 3 such coils on 1st August 2022. The effort has helped RSP to add more value to its varied product basket. It is noteworthy that there is a surge in the demand for the above category HR coils in the prevailing market. Notably, RSP has bagged an order of 200 tons of SAIL core HR coils. Earlier, the HSM2 has been successful in rolling HR coils up to 3 mm thickness in the same category. Equipped with cutting-edge technologies and operated by a team of highly motivated technocrats, the HSM2 has been making relentless efforts to develop newer grades with customized specifications to cater to the niche market segments. HSM2 has already carried out trial rolling of MC40 API X70 and rolling of coil with 2000 mm of width up to 5 mm thickness and wider LPG coil with 1680 mm width. Besides, HSM2 also rolled 8133 tons of CRNO grade coils in July 2022 for providing necessary inputs to the silicon steel mill that touched a record high in production during the month. It is worth mentioning here that the recently commissioned highly sophisticated mill is making rapid strides in the stabilization process. The mill produced 5,614 HR coils weighing 1,20,479 tons in July 2022. Continuing on the upward trend, the highly automated mill has so far rolled 28,014 coils with a total weight of 5,50,646 tons and dispatched 4,72,493 tons of coil. The spirited team, with the able guidance and constant support from the top management, is poised to accept newer challenges and help the plant scale greater heights. All the 10 students sponsored by SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant to undergo a 6-month course at Central Institute of Petrochemicals Engineering and Technology, Bhubaneswar, have got selected in the campus placement. It is worth mentioning here that CIPET is an institution under the Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals, Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers, Government of India. During the training, the 10 students belonging to the RSP resettlement colonies of Jalda and Jhirpani learnt the theoretical and practical aspects as well as gained skill sets in plastic processing, right from preparation of the designs in computer software to programming in the lathe machines, learning the injections modules techniques, to operating blow molding machines, extrusion processes to maintenance of machines and various aspects of plastic technologies. The learning was quite holistic for them. Besides this, the trainees were also imparted skills in entrepreneurship skills. This first batch of 10 students sponsored by RSP had joined the institute on 9 December 2021 and completed their course in July 2022, which staggered in between sessions due to COVID. In a function held at CSR Department of RSP on 30th July, Mr. A.K. Nayak, CGM, TA and CSR felicitated the students for successfully completing their 6 months course and also doing well in the studies that led to getting selected in campus recruitment. Present on the occasion were Ms. Munmun Mitra, GM in charge CSR, Mr. Dushman Pradhan, DGM CSR, and Mr. A. N. Patti, Senior Manager CSR, other officials of the department and family members of the trainees. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Nayak urged them to give in their best wherever they are placed and keep the name of the organization shining. Ms. Mitra advised the local youth to make the best use of the opportunity and acquire the technical acumen to excel in their career. Mr. Pradhan expressed his happiness over the professional achievements of the youngsters and wished them success. Mr. Benedict Ekka, Senior Field Assistant CSR, coordinated the function.
A grand function was organized at New Plate Mill of SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant on 3rd August 2022 to commemorate production of 5 million tons of plate from the unit. Mr. Atanu Bhaumik, Director in Charge, RSP, was the chief guest on the occasion and inaugurated the 5 million ton monument punch cone erected in front of the New Plate Mill to mark the occasion. Present on the occasion were Mr. S.R. Suryavanshi, Executive Director Works, Mr. P.K. Sahu, Executive Director Projects, Mr. S. Tripathi, Executive Director MM, Mr. A.K. Behuria, CGM in Charge F&A, many Chief General Managers and other officers and employees of the department. Addressing the gathering, Mr. Bhaumik congratulated the collective for achieving this milestone and said that it was the result of sheer hard work and smart working of the New Plate Mill collective and associated departments that the unit has surpassed this milestone. Let's sustain the momentum to scale newer peaks of success. I'm sure that the same dedication and commitment will bring more glory for RSP and SAIL. Applauding the feat, all the executive directors extended their hearty congratulations to the New Plate Mill collective. Mr. Pinaki Chaudhary, CGM New Plate Mill, spoke about the achievement and thanked the associated agencies for designing, constructing and erecting the monuments successfully. Notably, the monument has been designed in-house by the design department. The fabrication, machining and erection was carried out by the structural and fabrication shops and civil engineering services collective with locally available resources. The rhombus-shaped monument symbolizes the phased production milestones of the department and bears the signature of excellence and insistent efforts of the employees. A special refresher training program for firefighters on lift, elevator operation and rescue was held at Fire Service Training Center recently. In all, 16 firefighters from across the plant attended the program. During the course, theoretical inputs were provided on types of lift, different components of lifts, inbuilt safety features and their functions, operation and functions with regard to lift operation. The hands-on training arranged at Blast Furnace 4 lift was given by Mr. A. Banerjee, site in charge of Messrs. Arohi Elevator Private Limited. In this, the participants were shown ways of rescuing trapped persons in lift in case of power failure and other malfunctions. The training was jointly organized by the Fire Services Department and the Crane Maintenance Department under the guidance and supervision of Mr. J.B. Patnaik, GM Fire Services and Mr. P.K. Behra, GM Crane Maintenance.
Teams comprising 108 employees and 16 executives of Captive Power Plant 1 of SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant were presented with cash award under the Utkarsh Recognition Scheme. Mr. B. Sunil Kharta, CGM Power, presided over the two different functions organized at the Departmental Conference Hall on 3rd and 4th August 2022. He, along with the senior officers of the unit, presented 156 awards to the employees. Mr. N.C. Parida, GM O&M, Mr. S.L. Das, GM in charge, CPP3, Mr. B.V. Das, GM Electrical, Mr. A. Ghosh, GM Planning, Mr. Jaiveer Singh, GM Mechanical, and other officers of the department were present on the occasion. Congratulating the employees, Mr. Karta highly appreciated the team efforts. He emphasized upon such exemplary collective jobs which have a direct impact on enhancing techno-economics and productivity of not only CPP1 but the organization as a whole. Notably, the employees were awarded for their exemplary contributions in 17 different projects that helped the department to further improve its performance in various key areas. The enterprising jobs include providing interconnection between main cooling water system and auxiliary cooling water system at cooling water pump house of PBS, enhancing economizer tube life of CDCP boilers, restoration of clarifoculator bridge at PBS, in-house fabrication of turbo blower blow-off valve actuator shaft, in-house fabrication, installation and commissioning of coal mill gearbox oil filtration system, acid day tank in new water treatment plant, provision of interlock between paddle wheel machine number 1 and 2 of coal handling plant, fixing of temperature scanner at electrical control room for boiler feed pumps winning and bearing temperature, operation of firefighting pumps from new control room etc. in the areas of boilers, turbines, water treatment plant, coal handling plant, electrics and automation of CPP1. Both the award ceremonies were coordinated by Mr. P.K. Raut, Senior Manager Mechanical. A two-day program on high-impact leadership for frontline executives of RSP commenced at HRD Center on 4th August 2022. In all, 27 executives in the level of E1 and E3 from different departments of RSP were participating in the program. The main objective of the program is to enhance the managerial effectiveness of the participants and equip them with essential skills so as to optimally utilize their talent. The program is being conducted by Mr. P. Shaw, former CGM MTI Ranchi. Ms. Rajshri Banerjee, CGM HRD, welcomed the gathering in the inaugural program. The various sessions included topics on framework and effects of leadership, motivation, delegation, decision-making, communication, high-impact leadership, qualities, and practical leadership. The program also incorporates many outbound team-building exercises to imbibe leadership traits within the participants. Mr. K.K. Jaiswal, AGM HRDC, coordinated the program.
A grand function was organized at Blast Furnace Department of SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant on 5th August to mark the 9th year of commissioning of Blast Furnace 5 Durga. Mr. Tanu Bhomik, DIC, cut the cake to commemorate the occasion. The DIC was accompanied by Mr. S.R. Suryavanshi, ED Works, Mr. P.K. Sahu, ED Projects, Mr. Somnath Tripathi, ED MM, and Dr. B.K. Hota, ED M&HS, Mr. A.K. Behuria, CGM in charge F&A, and other senior officers. The function was attended by large numbers of chief, general managers, heads of departments, senior officers, and employees of the department. Speaking on the occasion, the DIC congratulated the Blast Furnace team for successfully completing 9 operational years of BF5 Durga. He highlighted the importance of the addition of the ultra-modern blast furnace in the journey of RSP, signifying higher productivity and prosperity for RSP. Mr. Bhaumik urged all to further ramp up the production and work towards zero maintenance for improving the overall performance of the unit. All the executive directors present on the occasion congratulated the Blast Furnace Collective on this memorable event. During the function, a short documentary on the history of BF5 Durga, prepared by the Public Relations Department of RSP, was also screened. Notably, the Blast Furnace 5 came up under the massive modernization and expansion plan of RSP with a useful volume of 4,060 cubic meters, designed by a production capacity of 2.8 million tons per annum in the year 2013. It is worth mentioning here that BF5, one of the largest operating blast furnaces of the country, surpassed 10 million tons of hot metal production in March 2018, followed it up with surpassing 15 million tons hot metal production in February 2020 and 20 million ton in January 2022. 21 empty mark on 19th May 2022 till July 2022. The furnace has produced 21.52 million ton towards the nation building service. A program on maintenance of pumps commenced at HRDC on 4th August. Employees in the grade between S3 to S11 from various departments of RSP are participating in the program. Different topics regarding the types of pumps being used in the plant will be covered in the program. They include classification of pumps, basic pump maintenance practices, maintenance and troubleshooting of chemical handling, bearing maintenance, lubrication of pumps, coupling and alignment, and many such topics. Mr. P.K. Raut, AGM CPTI, is coordinating the program with the support of Mr. S.K. Nayak, Senior Instructor, CPTI. That's all for today's news. Namaskar.